Back. So is everybody back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who's missing? Somebody's missing. Sue. All right. Well, I'll start anyway. Now Melissa's leaving now. Oh, okay. All right. So I want to know who had the wonderful experience to do the radiant IM, if you did it or not. You tried? Well, it's okay if you fall asleep. I fall asleep when I do it too. So, I put it on before I fall asleep at night. Sometimes I don't make it all the way through, but I figure it's still doing good. Or sometimes I'll put it on right when I wake up in the morning and listen to it. But apparently they say that if you have something going on and you do this for 30 days in a row, that you will have a self-healing. So, that's the interesting part about it. So let's just talk about it for a moment. And let's see how we interpret it, because, so how many people actually did it? And how many people did it more than once? Oh, I did it. Oh, you only did it once. Okay, I told you to do it at least 5 times. You have made your husband do it too? Okay. Okay, so you tell me, anybody that wants to, what you got out of it. What you understood about it, because you said, "Oh, I didn't understand what she was saying." What did you get out of it?
The girl thinks big. It's like when I do spiritual mind treatments, it's, like for a Subaru, she's going for like everybody, everywhere, it's all good and everything. And, it's like she really, goes there.
I love that.
That girl thinks big. Anybody else?
I think on the second time I had done it and I made it all the way through it, because I fell asleep. Well, I do it at night before I go to bed. It's really nice meditation. But on the second time that I was listening through it, I forget what part it was, but she's talking about the infinite. And like for some reason, something clicked in me. Like I could understand and comprehend infinity, and that there could be in this moment every single thing that has ever existed and everything that will exist all at the same time and time was irrelevant, but like all now here in just multiple universes and multiple, like it was a very interesting experience, but it's like her talking very big, but like speaking of the infinite. And so like at one point I remember just being like, wow, I can conceptualize the idea of an infinite universe.
Well, that's what I mean. If you listen to her and stop trying to understand it and just let the words consume you, you'll eventually start to understand it, but you won't be spending your whole time trying to understand it, which takes you out of it. So yeah, and stuff like that will happen. Yes?
Part of it for me was that it was universal in nature and not personal. And I couldn't yet take those universal principles that she's talking about in terms of the thing. How do I say? It doesn't become personal. I couldn't take it within my personal. I couldn't yet in one reading. I could say that in one reading. It just doesn't happen.
Right. That's why it really is worthwhile just listening to it. Not spending a lot of time trying to study it, but just actually don't try to study it. Just try to just listen to it and just let it take you over instead of trying to figure it out.
I listened to it with the woman speaking, and it was really intense.
You're talking about the one with the New York accent, with the Brooklyn accent.
Well, no, she was so
There's only one woman that does it.
And then I listened to the man speak it.
Oh, there is one with the man,
which was pretty cool. So I did both. But I guess the thing that really came across was, I heard specific things like I am iron and, I am the power and the strength.
It's very quantum physics.
It is, but it's like, so it's basically her speaking as God.
Yes.
So it was the feeling that came through was just, it was immutable. It was completely like, it was like a steamroller, just like you cannot, resistance is futile. You are this, and I am this, I am God, and you are God, and
I know. Well, but I love this beginning part of it where she says, but who hath told himself that all the objects he beholds and all their movements are all but projections of his own judgment?
Oh, I love that
Like
one.
it's the same thing she's saying here. Like we are the world. We are not separate from it. And there was this one part. Wait, when
Are
he
you going to read the whole thing?
No, I wasn't
No,
going to read it.
I wanted to hear the
No,
whole
I'm
thing.
not. I know. I have let people and objects and
That's-
activities come toward me and impinge upon
I
me
love that.
till I have been overpiled and mountain covered with thoughts. But now I know that I am
Yes.
at my own center, authority over and through my universe, and I shall ordain my 12 disciples or 12 powers to spread my original nature abroad till from me to the utmost stretches all is but my divine ego.
Get out of the way, baby. Mama's home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she just she just realized that everything was all these, she was taking on everybody's thoughts. And finally she's like, you know what, clear the way. Yeah, I'm here now. And yeah, I'm speaking to God. And what? Yeah, I don't know enough about
I
it.
think she
couldn't,
uses
but
those 12
there
powers
is-
after the 12
after the 12
apostles.
disciples of Christ.
Because I got it. It was like I fall asleep because we put it on right before, and I get into like maybe 6 lines of it. But I had the same problem in the beginning, and then I totally got turned on to it. But I think that what she's trying to say, and I think she even becomes like Jesus becomes God, right? Because she says it's kind of like I'm interpreting it like you had your 12 apostles. I got my 12 powers, and these are the powers that I use. So it's almost like that same, I got God bumps here. It's almost like that, like what Jesus probably wanted, the idea of us to say, I'm not the only one, man, take it over now. And she's like, yes, I have my 12 apostles, my 12 power. I will use it. It's my, and you know, and the
Well, and
infinite.
then she says, like, I don't know, when Jesus had his they were called disciples at one point, and then they were preaching apostles. Like, you become a disciple, you're a disciple, but then you have to go out in the world and be a preaching apostle. And it's like you spend your whole life being, following, and now all of a sudden you're going to go out, and that's what she told her students to do, right? She said, go out and teach this teaching, heal people, go out and do it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's exciting.
It is exciting.
And so I not underlined, but the first thing she talks about, she has like 12 of them. She has life, health, strength, support, protection, mind or intelligence, speech, writing, song, skill. Skill was like doing things, right? No child needs to be schooled, no bird needs a teacher, no angel needs a helper. And then beauty and judgment she did as one. And then what was the last one? And then the last one was heaven. Now, if somebody could tell me what this means, because I'm not sure. And I want to know, because it's the one part I don't understand. When she says, let me find it. My name is Jesus Christ, and in that name I am the heaven of all this universe. Its meaning is its influence. I am its meaning, its influence, its heavenliness. I think this, I speak this, I write this, I live this. I am. Oh no, it's not there. Wait, that's not what I was talking. Oh, it's not in here. It's about the folding gate. Where is that part? Do you know what I'm talking about? The
I
folding
think
gate.
that might not be
The folding gate that only opens in. Oh, it's the folding gate that only opens inward. That makes sense. It's the folding gate. The wisdom that you only get from opening.
I really
inward.
must be asleep by the
Yeah,
time
going
I get
inward.
there. Because I'm.
I cut this off though. Where is the last part of it? Does anybody have the last part? No.
Yeah,
The last line.
I don't.
It's the folding gate. The last part. It's not here. I don't know. Anyway, not going to find it right now.
Maybe that's
But
an addition to what you usually
No,
listen to at
I
night.
don't know. Anyway, any other comments on this?
Peggy?
After listening to her, I really thought that she was trying to show that she's in Christ consciousness, like the same of being God. But I mean, that's how I felt, because the way she'd said, I think this, I speak this, I write this.
I do this, I think this.
I write this, I speak this, I live this.
Which is basically saying that every aspect of myself, if I'm thinking, I'm writing, I'm walking, I'm a walking demonstration of this teaching for me. And yeah,
I love when she says, there shall be no disease or sickness from this day of the Lord onward. The inhabitants shall not say, I am sick anymore. I am the unending, irresistible, beautiful health of the whole universe. I, its center, shed my life abroad. This is my stopless ministry. I think this, I speak this, I write this, I live this. So
that's
it's
what
like,
DJ's talking about. It's
Yeah.
like, that thinking so big. And I think what she's saying is what you said earlier, that how do we heal? We become the examples of that, and we become the very thing that we want the world to become, and then that will follow.
Right.
But we have to go first.
It's really good stuff.
Go,
And
Emma.
some people, they don't resonate to her at all, and maybe there's some people here that don't resonate to her, but I think it's worth a try,
But
Just-
if you listen to it the first time I listened to it, I had a twinge. Well, and I wasn't lost. I was more twinging because it was a little too Jesus-y and too.
That's one of the things that people get turned off of,
Scripture,
right.
and it took me a long time to get past that. It wasn't that I understood what she was saying, but once I just fell into her and said, "Oh, I get what she's trying to say," and it shows me. Look at what resistance does. It took me a long time to really fall into her because I kept going, is she like Jesus thing? What's her thing with Jesus? Jesus, right? Jesus.
Sometimes, well, it's like sometimes when people come to this teaching, they're like, don't use the word God. I can't stand that word. Well, or don't talk about Jesus. I think your wife was one of them. She used to get mad every time we talk about Jesus. But, I know, right? But it's
And look at her now.
But, guys, it's because we have all this bad, karma, juju around Jesus. It's like, and because of Christianity. I hate to break it to us, but I'm not, or because of our interpretation. Christianity isn't bad, but, because of the way some people have interpreted it. Because in its purity, it's not bad at all. It's beautiful. So, yeah. So, anyway, I wanted to share that with you. And like I say, I encourage you to listen to it and not try to figure it out. Just allow yourself, because eventually you will figure it out.
We'll listen to it on our road trip.
Yeah. No, you might go to sleep.
No. You'll be like this. And my 12 disciples.
Okay, we'll do it when we stop.
All right. Emma Curtis, if I were to be asked directly as to the quickest way for a scientist to get his healing power going, I would probably say, praise everything and everyone in your mind. And as far as your mental convictions will demonstrate, promptly speak these praises aloud. So in other words, that's what I think we're being asked to do right now. Right? Don't praise everything. Well, I wasn't looking at you, DJ, but no.
Everything.
But,
We were no, it wasn't. She just
but it's
happened
true
to look
because
over at
look,
DJ
no,
when she
I
said
just happened to look-
everything.
But if you think about it, if you're being judgmental, if we're being judgmental, and we're all,
Yeah.
we're talking to somebody today, and
I was just gonna say that.
yeah, and he's like, I just go, why do I judge that? Why do I judge that? I'm not going to talk about what it is, but and he goes, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to judge it, and because we're used to doing it. It's just a pattern. It's just like a habit. It's just like, and sometimes we judge because we want to feel like we're okay, or we see ourselves. There's something in that we recognize in ourselves. But if we really could get to this point where we just praise everything, oh my God, how beautiful. Go ahead.
Go, Sean.
What?
Well, it's I just believe in the notion that hurt people,
Yes.
and that usually people that judge are the ones that judge themselves. And they weren't initially judging themselves, but they were taught to do that. You know what I mean? Maybe either by their environment or their parents, their schooling, their the kids around their neighborhood. They judged them, or they judged others, and they thought that that was just the end thing to do. And we're all doing the best that we can with the resources and
Right,
consciousness that
right.
we have. So it's just the consciousness,
Right.
and it's
And
it's.
I think he's just
yeah.
talking to, I'm not talking about the big things that we judge. I'm just talking about the little things that we judge all the time.
Oh.
It's in our, you know what I'm talking about. And, yeah, go ahead, Emma.
Well, sometimes it becomes a part of your nature because your education or the career that you're going into, it is about that. It's about making decisions. It's about looking at something and deciding and having your own thoughts and opinions on it. And that's judgment, right? I mean, if you're not talking about the fact itself, but what do you think about the fact? And the details of that. And sometimes that's what I had to, let me just speak for myself. That's what I had to do as part of my job. And as a person who had to go into settlement conferences, I had to look at facts and I had to come up with my own opinions about what happened. And that's all judgment.
But
and
is it-
sometimes it bleeds into your personal life.
I think that that's the difference between judgment and discernment. Like sometimes you have to discern things, but when it's judgment, it's like there's a lot of emotion involved. You know what I mean? There's emotion. Like it's like, you know, these eggs. Oh, they don't taste very good. Usually we have good food in this restaurant, but what the fuck did this cook do? And you know, blah 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 blah. That is he some kind
Yeah.
of idiot or something? That's judgment.
I think what I heard when you were talking about yours, I had no feeling of. Usually, when somebody talks about judgment, I can feel it viscerally inside my entire being. When you were talking, you know, I was talking about law. The law of Troward, the same thing. He puts out, here's the facts. This is what happened here. This is what happened here. The facts say you can't do that here because this is what causes blah, 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 blah. That to me is the law of the mind, that courtroom of the mind that I talk about. What we're talking about is judgment when you have to be right. And not right in law, but you have to be right for yourself. There's a difference between I have an opinion. I feel really strongly that something is real. Let's just talk the COVID for a second. So if you say, there's a lot of mixed messages going on on this island and around the world about this COVID. Now, that's fine. I feel like there's a lot of mixed messages going on. Where it is that I have to be right with that, so that when someone says, no, man, you're just trying not to wear a mask. And I'm thinking, no, I'm just saying there's some mixed messages that I'm not clear about right now. That's not judging. Judging me or judging them for their opinion that you were talking about is judgment. Melissa.
And yet, what she's saying is we should praise everything. Right. It doesn't matter what it is. So if I didn't like the eggs that I had got for breakfast in a restaurant, it would kind of just go off my back. You know, I would no. Well, I just wouldn't even really. I wouldn't be condemning them at all. I would just eat them and be grateful I had them. But
So I think that we need to whip out those bracelets again.
the complaining bracelets, yeah, we probably should.
And that's exactly how you praise everything is you
Right.
don't complain.
No complaining. Yeah.
Did you have something, DJ? It's just that you have to get up. It's actually my job, but I'm being all lazy.
No, you don't have to be. I don't have to be.
Well, I think like what you were saying to Emma, to me, there's a big difference between having an opinion or thoughts on something and versus judgment. Because to me, when I judge something, it's like I put it over there, and it's not just like, oh, I like that print or I don't like that print. But if I judge it, oh, that print is bad. It's almost like shaming. It's the difference
making it bad.
between how does she put it? If you what is the definition? How does she say the definition? Brene Brown says the definition of shaming. Oh, it's the difference between I did something bad and I am something
I am bad.
And that's kind of like, to me, if you say, oh, I don't care for that, but that thing is bad. That's when you make it bad. That's when it's a judgment to me.
Right.
And you say with the painting is this way. It's like, wow, I don't really resonate. I mean, I remember not resonating in New York to a painting that was, very popular artist, and I was like, wow, I don't know why everybody likes all those dots. And everybody's like,
All right, we're
what
going
the
to move
hell?
on.
Opposed to this. Who in the hell painted that? Right? Right.
But I
Rita?
think what Emma is saying is that we should have an attitude
Curtis
of
or
praise. Emma. That we should have, obviously, we have jobs and we have to discern things and stuff like that. But I think what she's saying is that if our overall attitude about life, our overall essence about life is that we find the good, that we have a more Pollyanna attitude about life, that there's nothing wrong with that. And then if we want to be a good healer, the quickest way to be a healer is to praise everything. Because if you're condemning everything, you can't just say, okay, now over here I'm judging and condemning, and then over here I'm a healer. So I think it's like it's creating an atmosphere about yourself. Mixtures don't work.
We were actually just distracting so that we wouldn't have to figure the fact why we weren't praising everything.
Okay, no, it's all right. So you want to say one more thing? And then we're going to go on to our book.
Well, that sort of general idea is something that I've been, trying to incorporate in my life more and more. But like when something happens that I don't like, I remind myself that there is a blessing in here somewhere,
Yes,
and to see the blessing. And so, So.
Yeah, I think that's what she's trying to say. It's like when we get sick or something, we start condemning ourselves. Why? How can we heal if we're gonna? If we're condemning the fact that we're sick and we're not loving ourselves through whatever it is, So I think that's what she's talking about. So I want to hear what you have to say about the book chapter. And
I was just about to, when you had that over your head, I was just about to say, now that's what Jesus of Nazareth looked like.
I don't know what you did with it. You lost it? Oh, no.
you had it on your phone.
Yeah, so
Was anybody sitting here? No.
my fault.
Rita's going to take a break and praise you.
So I just asked you to pick a passage that you liked and or that resonated to you, or let me get a pen in case I want to write something down. It is cold.
A little bit. I'll turn that off. I'll turn it off when I get over.
Could you take a moment to praise that coldness?
Yes, indeed. Thank you for all the nerves in my body that feel this cool air, and thank you for this building having an AC for all those hot days.
Yes.
Amen.
And then there's always a solution.
I wanted to go ahead and go first so I could set the bar low. Here we go.
Oh, no.
Wait a second. Did she not have a sense of humor? Gosh, exactly. Oh, goodness gracious.
Wow.
Oh.
You know what happens to those careers if you're not careful.
Right. As a member of the Center for Spiritual Living Kauai, I found a deeper relationship with the divine source. I used to be a Christian, therefore I knew the Creator by only one name, God. Now I see that there is so much more to the name than the Bible portrays. Emma Curtis Hopkins does a magnificent job in her book, Scientific Christian Mental Practice, of breaking down God into simple virtues. She says God is good, God is strength, and God is power. Or I'm sorry, support. There are some of the best. Those are some of the best, or these are some of the best adjectives for an energy I know so well. Ms. Hopkins start by saying God is good, or good God. Yes, God is good. On page 16, Emma says the naming of what the mind of the whole world is seeking is the first statement of Jesus Christ and the first lesson of Moses. It is the foundation thought even in the mind of insects. It is the good. She goes to explain the creative power of the universe and the basic actions of everything is good. I truly believe this is true. Underlying every action cause that's set forward into the ether is an intention of good. Even some of the most evil things are done for a cause that is redeemed righteous and I don't know about redeemed, but deemed righteous and good by someone. It is apparent that everything revolves around a principle that is stated multiple times by Miss Hopkins, stating, "There is good for me, and I ought to have it." That essence of good is within everything and enables the universe to unfold perfectly. God has always been the enforcer and motivation to stay strong within my life. Therefore, it really resonated with me when Miss Hopkins said, everything you tell the omnipotent truth to, that is strength, is God, and God is strength, will arise and be strong, and you will be stronger the more you proclaim the irresistible idea which all creation feels, on page 20. I believe the human spirit is the strongest thing in the universe. Our spirit is God in action. It's a direct reflection of the divinity within. God is strength because those that see God within themselves are the strongest amongst us. Another beautiful description of God Ms. Hopkins presented it was support. Wow. That truly hits the nail on the head. I always look to the Creator as a huge catalyst and necessary crutch when I felt broken. On page 21, she goes on to say, the chords of his mind chime when you speak the truth that God is his support, and his support is his God, because it is good. The most good God has done in my life is the loving support I got from his presence. The turmoil I've gone through hasn't been able to bring me down due to the support of the divine, or from the divine. God is much more than good, strength, and support. Ms. Hopkins also calls it health, defense, truth, and love. It's all of the above. Emma's first chapter in the scientific method is awesome. Can't wait to read more.
Thank you. That was
I love
was
that.
thorough.
I
You
love
did
that,
more- that was the low bar. That was pretty high bar.
Did I turn that on? I love that. It's good, and we ought to have it.
Yeah. So that was the phrase that I took too, is there is good for me and I ought to have it. I loved how she included that everything I could want would, like my health, support, life, substance, intelligence. It's like she included it all together in a way that seemed very circular to me. And this, it was so funny because this reminded me of exactly what you were saying earlier, Rita, that somehow the energy contained in her writing wasn't in the words themselves, but somehow in the energy she embedded in them, like they were imbued with what was in her heart. You know, if I'm saying that, you know, it was, yeah, because, you know, sometimes I could just get lost with the words, but if I just felt into what she was trying to say, you know, her deep heart of love for everything, and just expressing that love, you know, just to me, it really came through. And I admired that she thought so big, that she wanted the best for everyone and for everything, and she put her all behind it, man. You know, she didn't, you know, like, and you know, it was just like her enthusiasm, I guess you'd say, and the power that of everything that she could think of that she could whip together, she zapped it in there. And so when she wrote the quote above, which she actually wrote a number of times in the text, it seemed like a big or grand statement of truth. Like this is like it's really important, and she proved it in a lot of different ways, and it really made me consider exactly what my good is. In my spiritual mind treatments, like I was saying, you know, I must confess that I'm focusing on things and situations and feelings that would augment my life, but I don't often do spiritual mind, you know, and sometimes friends and that sort of thing, but I don't often do spiritual mind treatments for world peace, or that all beings are happy. And, I mean, I do a little bit of that in my Qigong practice. But so she made, really made me think a lot to, I think, I don't know, just this idea that, if you're focusing on, really being there for the bigger picture, that oftentimes the little picture just automatically clears up, or it's like it doesn't really matter, if you're, kind of. So, and I'm also thinking about just this idea, because it kind of tripped me up, when, like doing a purpose for the spiritual mind treatment. It's just like, I have so many things I want to do. It's like, do I have to do 500 spiritual mind treatments, But she just seemed like she kind of put a lot into that 25 minutes. Let me say that. So I think, what I'm trying now is, while I'm driving, is to just like flow that loving energy that she is putting out there, toward the bigger picture. And I think that will indeed help my little pictures, especially that I'm doing it in a zippy Subaru. So
That's great. You know something, DJ? It's very interesting when she said that about I do the little stuff for this Subaru or this stuff that we want in our life. And I got this hit when you were talking about that. But I don't always do it for the bigger picture. And I think that what Emma tells us is that we are big enough to do the bigger picture, which makes these little ones, a piece of cake. But I think why we don't, if people go, I'm going to get together with 1,000 people so we can meditate, and we don't always think, well, it's just me here. I'm going to take on the whole world now. Well, no, you're not taking on the whole world, but we are that powerful. And I think when you were up there, you were reminding me, oh my God, I am that powerful that I can do the treatments for everybody getting everything they want and the whole world all in one kit and caboodle, So I think that she did think big, and I think that that's something I think we can all take with us. Yeah. Who's up? You want to do it?
Use the mic up here. There's one up here.
It's the special mic. It's the Emma Curtis Hopkins
Want to be
mic.
special?
Drop the mic, Patrick.
Yeah, so I really kind of didn't. There's one sentence that stood out, and it didn't have to do with good, but okay.
Whatever you think.
What would
Everything's
Emma
good.
say?
Yes, exactly. Okay, the idea I most resonate with in the first chapter is the word metaphysical means above and away from the physical. So what does metaphysical actually mean? It is transcendent, lying beyond the limits of ordinary experience. It is supernatural, which relates to an order of existence beyond the visible and observable universe. It's attributed to an invisible agent. God is the great unseen. As Troward explains, it all began with the originating mind contemplating itself. But spirit wants to live life and experience its consciousness, so it created matter from thought. Even though we live in a material world full of matter, we can see, hear, smell, touch, and taste, thought is really the basis of all we experience. However real thought actually is, it can't be experienced by our five senses. But most importantly, it can be felt. Just imagine the world without the marvelous qualities of God that we feel all the time, without which our lives would not be worth living. Love, peace, joy, wholeness, understanding, humility, gratitude, courage, patience, friendship, hope, awe, awareness, belief, truth, wonder, beauty, knowing, prosperity, abundance, kindness, wisdom, freedom, compassion, charity, humor, care, unity, honesty, acceptance. These qualities all condense into the physical as we, individualized beings of God, think, feel, and live them into our lives. We are God. We are also cloaked in physical bodies. Our senses and perceptions register within a very small spectrum of light, sound, touch, taste, and smell. However, we can access all of the God qualities unfettered and in total if we remember who we are and open to God within and relinquish our conditioning. Some people are fortunate to be born fully conscious and never forget their connection to God. Jesus was one of these people, and he taught that the kingdom of heaven is accessible to all who open their hearts to it. These are not just words if true feeling backs this up. The basis of science of mind is accessing the metaphysical in order to connect to the first cause, which says yes through the law. As we remember God within us and open to all the good that is ever on offer, we will flourish because we are no longer subject to race consciousness, conditioning, and the law of averages. We make visible the invisible through our thoughts and feelings. We can do this. It just takes persistence and willingness to remember who we are, as well as total belief, deep knowing, trust in the process, and praise everything.
Praise
Hallelujah.
I don't know where that came from.
You should publish it. I don't know, on somewhere. It's right there. Dr. Peggy,
Oh, no.
can you imagine? I write this, I think.
Okay, now I'm sweating. So Emma Curtis emphasizes in her book that God is all there is, and God is good, and my good is God. So God is the source of my life, my health, my strength, my support, and my defense. God is love, truth, life, substance, intelligence, and spirit. I don't want to read this whole thing, I just want to talk about it. If I believe that God is completely is all there is, then I would be free of all worry, all concern of living in my world as a human being. I'm certainly not there yet. But I resonate with God being my unfailing support. Just the daily practice of prayer and spiritual mind treatment prepares me for my day, every day. I'm so grateful to have those words to create a feeling of protection and encouragement to face whatever the day brings. So it was demonstrated to me yesterday as I was in work in Princeville, and I came out to my car, and it had a dead battery. But I had a premonition about a month ago that the battery might go, and there wasn't any indication that it was really bad or anything, but I threw the jumper cables in the trunk. So, of course, I was prepared, and I hadn't jumped a car in probably 10 or 15 years, but how hard is that, right? Just read the directions. And then I had to go in and recruit somebody to help me to jump the car. And the first lady, she couldn't pop the trunk, pop the hood. And the second lady helped me, and she goes, I just call my fiance when this happens, and I don't have one of those. Yeah, but I knew I was just totally cool and confident that it's all going to unfold perfectly. Then I called Napa, and I'm going to head down and to get the battery done at Napa. And of course, I got to Napa at 10 after 4, and they locked the doors at 4. So I'm like, it's all going to work out. It's going to be okay. I'm just trusting that I'm supported. So I did go to the mechanic I usually go to, and they happen to have the battery in the garage that fit my car. So it all worked out just perfectly. I was supported, and I wasn't anxious about it, and I wasn't nervous about it. I just knew that it would unfold. I live in a world of form. It is what my experience has been most of my life. I choose to practice spiritual mind treatment and trust that I'm always guided and protected for my good. That is now my truth. What a wonderful way to live.
These are beautiful. I love these. Give it to me. So good. These are awesome. Do you have something to say, dear? I know. I can't believe you two. Patrick, will you move over there? And then when you sit back down, Sue, sit and be doing
Sit between the two. Oh, thank you.
That'd be lovely. Lovely.
All right.
So, it's okay. The first lesson of truth is the word God. So states Emma, I can't type, Curtis Hopkins in the beginning chapter of Scientific Mental Practice. She, with great conviction, explains the power and potential of a word. Her thoughts, as I understand them, are that the word God does not fully expose the truth. It is in our seeking our good that we find our connection to Source. The good which you are seeking is your God. That's a quote from her. I agree that as I have a clear idea of what my good is, I expect it to come to me quickly, even right now. Another word that she speaks about is the name Jesus Christ. Like the word God, Jesus Christ, for me, brings mixed feelings. My childhood religious upbringing of God-pleasing rules and regulations and failure to abide by them brings judgment and possible eternal damnation, allowed me, I'm not sure I like that word, to reject the Bible and the acceptance of Jesus Christ as an authority in my life. It is my feeling that science of mind today also has limited the teachings of Jesus. Maybe it's because using that name brings back thoughts of religious lack and limitation to our minds. Maybe it's because we are open to all pathways to Source that we do not speak only about Jesus. But Emma said, let the magic name good be the name of all names in your mind. It is the name that Jesus Christ comes to be understood by. After speaking over the names of the good, let your mind add the name of Jesus Christ. I feel good to relax about Jesus, and I have for a long time. But this chapter really brought it clearer to me. No, I don't need a sacrifice for my sins, but I am much more willing to look at and remember my foundations in the teachings of Jesus Christ. It is mine to look for the good and have a clear idea of how any teaching fits into my own spiritual authority. Paul, in Philippians 4:8 says, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if there's any excellence or praiseworthy, think on such things. As I was going snorkeling today, I had just this thought that it's always been hard. I remember when Dr. James started saying, I am God, and how hard it was for me to say, I am God. It feels a little inauthentic or egotistical. But I can say, I am good. And that really felt wonderful today. I am good. I'm not perfect. I am Sue Wood, and I am good.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Thank you. These are beautiful. I'm just in awe of your beautiful spiritual intelligence.
Good evening, everyone. All right, so the title of the paper is There is Good for Me, and I Ought to Have It. But the quote I am actually going to talk about is the good I am seeking is my support. God is my support. This statement stood out for me during the reading of this chapter. During the chapter, it speaks about breathing for support, looking to the right and to the left, and looking for sustenance. And it brought up the idea that I often look outside myself for help. I used to hold a hope that someone or something somewhere will save me. This is especially prevalent for me when I'm having a hard time, when I'm not in acceptance of something, or when I'm experiencing difficulties in making decisions. The Science of Mind teaching, in conjunction with the work that I'm doing in 12-step programs, has helped me to look for or look to God as the source of my support or my inner source. I recently experienced my first spiritual mind treatment session with Reverend Rita, which focused exactly on the truth that God is my source of financial support, my source of prosperity, of abundance, that God is the source of my happiness, my joy, my fulfillment, not my partner, not my job, not my body image. I needed to be reminded of this truth and that I am magnificent, and that unifying with this belief will bring all that I want and deserve. In developing my thoughts on our final project, my mind focused on the idea of listening to my inner spirit, my intuition. There's been quite a bit of doubt and fear, coupled with anxiety over decision making and many other aspects of my life. When I put pen to paper to write about our final project or my thoughts around it, the doubt coming from my immediate second guessing of what I wrote about the doubt that was coming from my immediate second guessing of what I had intuitively decided. That if I am to listen, to truly listen to my source, I need to feel what it feels, hear what it says, and then create action around that thought and stop those negative thoughts that immediately turn to question any decision that I had been making. I need to choose confidence and acceptance that the decision that I've made is the right thing to do, and that divine right action will come to be, and whatever is necessary to transpire will become. The implementation of this process is still in progress. My current relationship is definitely providing a catalyst for this spiritual growth and unleashing of the power in my decision making and my knowing of truth and my belief in myself. Old habits are taking time, the time that they need to work themselves in and through me. And I've learned that support is not bad, that my work in 12-step programs and through Science of Mind, it has made it quite clear that God is good and that God is my support. And what I am seeking is God.
Ronald Lummy.
Very inspiring. I'm so inspired.
That was very good. That was very good. That was awesome. So, there is good for me, and I ought to have it. I mean, that's the thing that jumped out to me. But on page 22, everybody nearly tries to cover up the main purpose of his life. He tells all kinds of stories to himself and others about what he is seeking. Often he tells that all he asks is just enough to feed and clothe and house his family. Let him tell the honest truth that he seeks for unlimited bounty. Nothing can possibly satisfy anybody short of unlimited supply. God is the idea of unlimited supply, which men keep covered so deeply within their minds. If you name your good, do not fail to say, my good is my unlimited support, my unfailing support. The good will soon bring you marvelous support. New provisions will be made for you. There is no limit to the bounty of truth. Excuse me. The substance of truth is shown by the happy prosperity that can come to you and is sure to come when you speak the truth. So, this statement resonates with me because I believe it deeply within my consciousness. I have often thought about it from a perspective of outside of myself. But upon reading this chapter, it has taken on a new concept in me in the simplicity and power of the statement. Every experience that has occurred in my life is actually for my good, whether I understood it or not at the moment. When my mind was a closed portal to the universal mind, I could not see how many of the experiences I lived through were purposeful for my growth. I was too busy classifying experiences as, quote, unquote, good or bad. I never looked for or at the opportunity for growth. Therefore, I discounted many things that could have been beneficial to me or others. But when I became acquainted with the truth that my good is my God and my God is my good, I began to grow in areas that were beforehand stagnant pools of self-pity and discouragement. By embracing this philosophy and incorporating into my daily life, I have been able to grow in ways that continue to blow my mind. It has taken on a life of its own, so it seems, but in actuality, it is revealing the life that is meant for me. There is one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now.
Wow. Don't give him the mic.
What I do?
Patrick wants the mic back. He doesn't want me to take the mic.
Sorry, Papa Patrick.
I'm blown away. That was awesome.
guys are awesome.
I'm also happy that you really liked Emma Curtis Hopkins. I'd like to just do a whole course on her because I think it would be a really powerful 8 weeks for all of us to just really delve into her work and use it in our lives, you know. And just tonight, I feel like her spirit just lifted us up, and I really needed that today. So I feel really, really happy about it. Yeah? You have any last remarks? I'm going to do something.
No, I just want to apologize if Ron was not behaving like his self tonight. I just wanted to let you.
Behaving like myself.
Yeah.
No, it
this
was
is
nice to
good.
get another perspective.
So before we close out, because I'm going to do a statement of being before I do my closing treatment, but I want to go through next week, and I have it actually written out for you. So, but I will send you the slides anyway. So, where's my? It's over here. So, okay, so you're going to read chapter 2. And you're going to answer these questions. What are denials and what is the purpose of using them? How does this compare to how we use denials in science of mind? And that is, does everybody have a textbook? I'm sure you all do in this class. Just look up those two, see if you can find how it compares to how we use denials in science of mind. And then Ms. Hopkins explains and defends the use of denials, and she says there is no use of making the affirmations until we have made the denials. Does SOM concur with this? And then just read that and just answer those questions. And then the only other thing you need to do is, besides reading the chapter and answering those questions, is to work on your talk for the last class. What's the matter? You're making a puzzled look. What? Oh, I know, but guys, it's going to be homework. Okay, so on your final project, all you're supposed to do is give a 5 to 7 minute talk. No more. Well, do you think they can do 7 if they need it?
1, 2, 3, 4. How many? Just 10 times 7 is.
Unless we're going to do something. 10 times 7 is 70 minutes. 10 times 7. Yeah, that'll be all right. Because then, yeah. So on healing, based on everything that you've learned and everything you've studied and anything else you want to add to it, a talk on healing, what healing is, how you incorporate it, how you plan to incorporate it, what you think it is, what you don't think it is, but based on what all these people, you can draw from all of these people. All right? So it's pretty open. I mean, you can do it any way you want to do it. All right? And when I say talk, you can read it if you want, or just get up and talk, however you do it. Emma Curtis Hopkins would make you give a 15-minute talk without notes, but we can't
And
give you
as
30
all
minutes.
of you know, we do time it. So
Yeah, we will time it because we don't want to be here all night. But
You
since
guys
it's
don't
not-
really
It's a
have
fairly
that.
small class.
you guys aren't really an over talker, but you never know at the last minute. You could turn into Patrick.
And then this is the last class in the series of classes for those that have finished this that can go on to practitioner studies. I'm not sure that you all, yeah, this is the last one. I don't know if you all have. I'm going to go back and look at the records because we're going to probably end up starting 2 classes, one right away and then another one when everybody else is done, because I don't think we're going to teach a practitioner class in September, and then we're going to go back and look at what people are missing and go back and do those. So
Doing a foundations because
yeah, we probably will do a foundations class because there's a lot of people that probably want to take foundations.
Yes,
But
Charles.
as far as I'm knowing, looking at this crowd, the only ones that have all of the credits are DJ, Sue, Melissa, Charles. Well, you don't, but you will, but you don't, but you're leaving anyway. Charles, and you almost do. You're missing that one class. But
Mastery, I believe.
but if you
have
want
it.
to take that class, we can give you the things, and then you would be ready. And then I think Sherry Teal is going to join us. And then the rest of you that don't have it, we'll catch you up if you. And then we'll just. Last year we'll be teaching probably a practitioner 2 and a practitioner 1 at the same time, which is what we did not last year, but when we had.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Charles, do you have something?
You guys could potentially work smarter and not harder and just use your recordings. So if somebody's missing a class, you guys just get the classes and then send them that and have them do the homework and or small papers and then spit them out to you.
That's a good idea. Why not? Thank you, Charles.
Even though live gets you a little bit more of the
Yeah.
feel.
Well, I mean, for Peggy's sake, I think her doing the self-mastery on the video is good because she wants to get. It's the only
Right,
class
so
she has to
that's
catch
right.
up in. But it was the best class.
No, I think you were in self mastery.
Okay, and I'm not sure if you registered for Science Mind 100, so we might have to go back and do it. Okay, so, but.
Okay.
All right, so when we close out, let's just, I'm going to make the statement of being, and then I'm going to do a closing treatment.
I turned
So-
down the heat, or is it hot in here for you now? Good. Just want to make sure you weren't sweating. And
Did you know that Om means good beyond good? Far beyond even our ideas of good, there is infinite good awaiting our words.
After I read it, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay, so. all right.
You're
Does
in
anybody have any
trouble, but
closing-
you better be
have any
glad you're
close-
leaving town. You better be glad you're leaving town.
Does anybody have any closing remarks or closing questions or closing anything?
Thank you, Miss Rita,
And
for.
let's just thank
what?
Rob for just being here with us. Yay. Do you
Thank
have
you,
any
Robbie.
closing remarks?
I,
He's glad it's not him. What?
I do have a closing remark.
Oh.
Guys, it's been a wonderful class. It's been amazing to be in this class with you guys and all the fun that we've had and all the learning that we've done and just to share our experiences. It's been absolutely God bump moments.
I'm still in denial. Denial.
Denial treatments. There's no use in making decisions until we have made the denials.
Okay. So you'll have to write your little talk out for us or something so we can read it. All right. Yeah. Unless we can zoom you in.
No, he'll be on the road.
Oh, you'll be on the road. You could do it. Yeah, you could.
Any idea where we're going to be?
You could film it and we could put you up on the screen.
Oh,
Yeah, you could do that.
You could, you can do it on Zoom, and then you can download it onto YouTube, and then we can put it up there. It's really easy to do.
Yeah, we're doing it now.
we have Zoom.
Yeah, and not Melissa. Why do I keep calling Michelle Melissa, and I call Melissa Michelle? I don't know. I know it's the M word. Anyway, Michelle knows how to do that, and you probably do too. All right, everyone. Let's take a deep breath. Let's take a deep breath.
Thank you, Rita, for an incredible class tonight.
Thanks. Thank you, Emma. Thank you. It was fun.
That was a good time. That was a good time for me to say that, wouldn't you say?
Okay. So let's just take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And I'm going to just read these and then I'm going to go into treatment. The good I am seeking is my God. My God is my life. The good I am seeking is my health. God is my health. The good I am seeking is my strength. God is my strength. The good I am seeking is my support. God is my support. The good I am seeking is my defense. God is my defense. Life is God. Truth is God. Love is God. Substance is God. God is intelligence, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. God is life, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. God is truth, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. God is love, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. God is spirit, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. So let's just all say Om together. I think we should do that. Om. One more time. Om. One more time. Om. So as we let that just resonate in our hearts, Om, the name of God, the ancient word, Om, so powerful, recognizing that Om that has been here since the beginning of time is the very breath, the very life that is God, that is within each and every one of us. From eternity to eternity, there is only that, which is all that there is. And it is here now, as each and every person here. It never leaves. It is always here, singing that Om through all of creation. I know and claim that we are that, and that each of us is safe, supplied, loved, supported at all times. I am grateful for this night that we have had together, for this beautiful, amazing being of light, Emma Curtis Hopkins, and what she has left for us to digest and to celebrate and to embody in our own lives. And I know that we do that as we go from here. We take this with us, and wherever we are going and wherever we are just taking this and using it and living it and being it and just living the greatest, amazing lives, unlimited lives. There is no limit to what we can do, what we can be, what we can have, what we can experience. We are good. We are healers. We are teachers. We are God expressing. We are good. And I just know this. I just claim it. I allow it. I surrender to it. I accept it. And I give great thanks for it, knowing that it is good. And I am so grateful for this manifestation in each life here as I take this word that I have spoken, this word of love, and I release it as law, knowing that it is done and continues here and forever as we affirm together. And so it is.